So you've got some really exciting changes coming in your life. You're becoming a parent.
Yes, very, very, very exciting. It's about T minus 8 weeks now. So, much to, I'm beside myself with excitement, although I am humbled every other day. I mean, when you and I have a conversation, when the stark reality of no sleep is, brought to my attention, but I'm going to wing that and just focus on the positives for now. But no, we're very, very excited. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, like I always say, like children are the worst possible thing that can happen to you, but also the best possible thing that can happen to you.
The other day I actually I told my wife, we were kind of having a conversation about it, and you get these moments where you think, am I ready? Can we do this? Are we sure about this? I mean, it's a bit late now, but I actually told her the other day, I said, it doesn't matter because like Zane mentioned to me the other day, we literally just have to keep her alive. I mean, it can't be that hard, right? So, yeah, I don't know if I've set the bar, low or high, but that is the intention. Just got to keep her alive.
Yeah, I mean, I probably do set the bar low, but that's my only goal. Like, if they're alive at the end of the day, like I'm doing my job, and anything else is just a bonus. Just try and make sure they don't turn into like total dicks. But the rest of the time, I think you'll be okay. So one thing we sort of, we don't want to gloss over there, right? You mentioned your wife, which obviously means non-traditional relationship. It is June, it is Pride Month. So, with that sort of major change in your life, the fact that you have a wife, what does Pride mean to you?
Zane, I like that question. I like that question because, this is every year when Pride sort of rolls around, when June rolls around, it's kind of, brought to the forefront. And I find myself pondering, and I find the answer changes. The answer changes each time I think about it and I reflect on it. But, in the easiest way I could probably describe or sort of from my perspective is Pride is reiterating that we are here, non-traditional. I like the way you phrased it. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's non-traditional. Yeah, it's different. It's different. It is something that, for lack of a better term, has been taboo for a long time and things like that. But apart from being a reminder to, whether it be to all of us, to the world, that hey, we're here. It's also for me, it kind of resonates that we have the opportunity and that things have changed. The world has changed and we see it changing every day. I mean, even for myself, if you had to take me back a few years, I never thought I'd get married. I never thought that we'd be expecting a little one. And I'm proof that here we are and we're doing it. So I think, it's a great reminder that the world around us continues to change. And I think it's sort of every day that goes by, every day that people are more comfortable being who they are, it just gives us the platform for acceptance and learning and appreciating people's differences, because that is exactly what it comes down to, is celebrating differences, if you will.
Yeah, I was reading a comment a couple of days ago, I guess, that the most feared symbol in the world is a rainbow. And I just had to laugh a lot.
Yeah, when you put it that way, I mean, it kind of it loses steam, eh? But yeah, you're so right. I mean, I think that it is, things. There's so many wrongs and injustices in this world that we continue to see on a daily basis, but Pride Month kind of gives me pause and just to see the overwhelming support that you do see coming through, and every year you see it just gets more and more and more. It reminds you that, hey, we might not be where we want to be, but we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, it's always just such a weird one for me, right? Like I don't know why you would be scared of something that doesn't affect you. And that is always just like a really interesting one. And I mean, it doesn't just go for pride, it goes to race as well. And all sorts of any sort of form of discrimination just seems, it's always a little strange to me, and I don't quite get it. But at the same time, obviously, as you know, uh, you know, a white male, uh, you know, heterosexual, close enough to 6 feet that I can almost pull it off. Like I've got all the boxes ticked basically. Like, I'm a little short for 6 feet, so I don't quite have that one down, but I tick all the boxes. So though I have seen sort of part of sort of discrimination in terms of hiring practices in South Africa post apartheid, as well as then coming over to the US with a funny accent. I can sort of see how it can be difficult, but at the same time, I could never understand what people from your community go through, right? Like I just could never. Is there have you sort of felt that in your normal life? Has this been a sort of a continuous struggle? I know South Africa is still pretty prudent in their thought processes in most of the country. Like, is this, is sort of prejudice a big part of your life?
Zane, I think the best way for me to respond to that is something that I once read, and it said, when it comes to our community, when it comes to, let's say, myself, like someone will ask, I'll often get the question, when did you come out? And you think of coming out as this sort of static moment in time where, you reveal your true self, or whatever the case may be. And this piece that I read said, you don't stop coming out. Every day you're coming out to different people. And I think that kind of, the anxiety, the sort of concern, whether it's justified or not, that feeling doesn't sort of go away. And I would say I have been, lucky in that regard. And I'm going to say lucky because that is the way I see it. But it doesn't negate the fact that each time it has come up, it does create, that anxiety is through the roof. Will the person view me differently? Is this the end of the friendship? Have I misrepresented myself by not saying it? So there's a lot at play. And I mean, we've just come off of, or just recently seen sort of mental health or mental wellness day and things like that. And these two really link very closely together as well, because I mean, there's a lot of sort of repressed anxiety and the stress of having to do it on a day-to-day basis. I do come back to where I say I was lucky. And I'm going to give you an example now, and I don't even think you can remember it, but for example, so I'm in the interview process with Protea, and I mean, it's a big deal to me, right? So I'm thinking, as I'm going through the interview process, it kind of becomes, if I don't say it now, I'm going to have to say it down the line. So do I want to get this awkwardness out the way now? And
gosh, was I terrible?
Like I said, I don't even think you remember, because I'd hyped myself up. And I thought, okay, right, I don't know this, I don't know Zane, I don't know what his beliefs are, but let me rip the band-aid off now, and if I don't get the job, I don't get the job. Rather this now than a few months down the line, and I, sort of have to come out to him or whatever. So we're in the meeting process, and we're on the call, and then I just decided, how do I bring in the fact that I have a wife? And I'm sweating bullets, never mind the fact that it's in an interview setting, and there's a lot riding on this. And I just said, I said something to the effect of, yeah, my wife likes shopping a lot. And it was probably the most arbitrary sentence that I could ever come up with. Um, but in those few seconds, my heart was in my throat. And your response was like, yeah, cool. So what do you do for fun? And, it was the most blasé answer. Um, but the non-answer just said it all to me, and just that, that anxiety kind of just disappeared. And then I realized, like, not you're not gonna that's it, that was the extent of it. So that's one instance where I say I've been lucky, but it's instances like that where, for you, it's would barely register as a memory, but for me, it's clearly imprinted and defined, because again, there's another pivotal moment in my life.
Well, I'm glad I didn't screw it up, because you know it's super easy to do that, but it really, for me, it's really a non-event. You know, maybe it's more like, oh gosh, really, you got married? Like, married life's tough, right? But it's it's sort of a non-event for me, to tell the truth. And I always try to sort of, I think people sort of get so stuck in like it's like this black and white situation, where it really just is a spectrum. And if you think of it as in the spectrum, I think things become a lot easier to understand. And this is understanding that this is not some decision somebody made. Like, this is just who they are. If you think about it in those terms, then what the heck, just go with it. So you obviously touched on the example of your interview process, but how have you felt the environment of Protea? Have you felt welcomed? Have you felt comfortable?
I mean, that kind of, obviously, going through the interview process, and with just prior to that, with the interview before our interview, I'd also kind of dropped it in there to test the waters and see. And that kind of just set the tone for my experience, because I can honestly say now, it was a non-issue. It is a non-issue. It's something, and I'm going to mention the company specifically now, but come 1st of June, I was scrolling through Facebook, and there I see the cover photos updated, and it's the Pride flag, and I'm reminded, hey, it's Pride Month. And but more so than that, it just, I think one of the biggest things we still fail to see as a community is representation and support. And something like that, something like updating your cover photo, you're not saying anything, but it speaks volumes. It speaks to acceptance. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I couldn't be more proud. I mean, ironic in Pride Month, but honestly, I was filled with the sense of pride, because that's exactly what it was. Proud to be associated with the company, proud that I'm accepted, proud that I'm able to be, and count myself very fortunate. There's never been an instance where I've hesitated to essentially be my true self in the workspace. So I mean, I think that just sort of reiterates. And I mean, if we go back to the Protea house, I mean, the family thing, that's something that stands out for me.
Well, I think we're both very fortunate that our wives are much better people than we are, so that's super helpful as well.
100%, 100%. Saying couldn't agree with you more.